right, just while we wait for people to file into the room here, Judie, welcome. It's good to see you again.
Thanks, Gary. Good to see you
Yeah,
again as well.
yeah. So what'd you do over the weekend? Anything fun?
I wish I could say I was in bed with an injured back. So
Oh, that's
no
right.
fun for me at all.
That is not fun at
So
all. So I hope that will continue to heal for you.
thank you.
It's
I appreciate that.
I've never been a big chiropractor fan, probably because of more out of ignorance than anything. My wife started going to one several years ago, and I've gone to him a few times, and it's been amazing. He's a holistic naturopath, and but in his goal, I think the chiropractic had a negative stigma of, oh well, if you go once, you have to go for the rest of your life. And the guy that we've gone to, his goal is absolutely not to see you anymore. He's like I want to repair you and get you out of here. But certainly see the value in that. But don't know if that's
Yeah.
something or not.
Something I'm going to consider. I do yoga and I get massage regularly. So I had yoga last Tuesday. I had a massage Wednesday. I had a stretch session on Thursday. And Friday, I think my back just said, "You're aggravating me too much. Leave me alone for a while." So I think I'm gonna let it settle down a little bit, and then I might consider chiropractic.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that.
Thanks.
So, all right. Well, let me get us kicked off here. So, this is pretty casual. My name's Gary Dehart. I am the publisher of Insightful Accountant, and my guest is Judie McCarthy. Judie actually decided to be a guinea pig for us. We are trying to just kind of test the waters on some different things that we can offer out to the community. And one feedback that we've gotten on a pretty regular basis is people want to see product, they want to see comparisons. And so, through this venue, we're going to show product. And again, we're just kind of testing to see what kind of reception we get within the marketplace. Obviously, if so, we do want to be real clear, and we've promoted it as very clearly that this is a product demo of Judie's product, the product that she co-founded, Client Hub, which is a practice management and client portal solution. It may even offer more things than that, but I know that's the two core things. And Judie's going to get into that with us in just a minute. We did promote this as a CPE eligible, so we do have a couple of 3 poll questions you have to answer if you need the CPE. This is for the live portion, of course. And then you do have to be in the session for 50 minutes, 50 minutes. Judie will be answering questions. Judie, are you going to answer questions as you go through, or would you prefer those to be held until you get towards the end?
Yeah, probably I'd say go ahead and submit those questions to the Q&A panel. I can browse through them and take a look, but probably just for the sake of time, I'll go ahead through the demo. Chances are I'm going to answer most of those questions, and if I don't, we can address those at the end.
Yeah. And if you do have a question, be real specific when you put that question in. Don't say, Judie, what did you mean by that? Because she's going to say 200 things over the next 50 minutes or so. So be real specific. Judie, what did you mean when you said X? That way, if it's 30 minutes before she can answer the question, we'll know what you're talking about. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and go dark here. I'll be in the background. Let me go ahead and throw up one poll before I do that, just so we can go and get that first one done. And again, this is if you need the CPE, go ahead and answer this. We're just basically real quick poll. Do you use a practice management solution? Yes, no, but considering it. And so once we get everybody participating there, we'll go ahead and close that out. And it looks like we do have participation here. So I will go ahead and end this poll and turn it over to Judie. And then Judie, I will reach out to you in probably about 15 minutes. I'll just shoot you a little message that says, hey, let's throw up the other poll. And Judie, the overwhelming responses were, yes, currently use a practice management solution. So
awesome. Well, I hope it's our solution that you're using.
That's right. We'll find out. So, all right, I'm going dark. Let me know if you need me.
Awesome. Thanks, Gary. And thank you for everybody attending here today. I'm happy to be Gary's guinea pig for this, and I hope you get a little bit of great knowledge about this. So a couple things I wanted to talk about before I go ahead and start doing some screen share here is what is a practice management solution and what is Client Hub? So traditionally, practice management solutions were normally associated with tax preparation software. There were ways for you to keep track of the work that you needed to do, who was currently doing the work, what was the status of that work. And so some of those also included some billing software as well. So time tracking and billing, so you could go ahead and keep track of the work that you're doing and then bill your clients. I think things have really changed now. Practice management, we look at it in a whole different light because there's more than just the work that we do. There's our external work. So there's the communication and collaboration with our clients. And so that's, I think, where Client Hub really stands out when we talk about practice management. So I want to call this a whole practice management solution. And we just haven't really found the right words to describe what the product is. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen and just talk a few minutes about what we solve for. So what are the challenges in most firms? As a former firm owner myself, the biggest challenges that we had in our firm, the number one was probably getting answers from clients. That's really where we struggled. And I think everybody does. I talk to thousands of accountants every year. And the biggest challenge there is like, hey, I'm waiting for 3 months worth of bank statements from my clients, or I can't get them to answer questions about transactions. That is where Client Hub comes in, because we realized in our firm the reason we're not getting answers from our clients are several different things. Number one, we ask them once and we're afraid to bug them or bother them or hassle them anymore. Number two, our clients are busy small business owners. You are the last thing on their mind until they need something from you. So they need an easy way to keep track of what are those outstanding items that you're waiting on, especially when it comes to when they need something, right? You need something from me, I need something from you. Go to that list and see what I'm waiting on. Or hopefully they get into a good habit of going to that list on a regular basis. The other big challenge we had was a way to keep our work organized, and not only organized, but knowing who is responsible for what work, what is outstanding, what is completed, what is the progress of the current work that we have, as well as what happens when somebody in the firm leaves or somebody goes on vacation or maternity leave. Not only keeping the work organized, but documenting those processes so we have an easy transition of that work and it doesn't disrupt the client and it doesn't disrupt the firm. And then the other big challenge that we had in our firm are communications. For us, it was communication scattered amongst multiple inboxes. So everybody had their own email address. And if a client was communicating with somebody on my team, I didn't necessarily have visibility into that, and I needed to. Firms I'm talking to today have much bigger challenges. They're looking at multiple inboxes, multiple channels. They have clients texting their staff, sending messages through Facebook, even sending messages in other ways. So all of those things can be the challenges that I'm sure if you're watching this presentation, you are having one of those possible challenges. So we created Client Hub basically to solve for those. And we are a web and a mobile-based platform that has both a firm portal and a client portal, as well as a mobile app so that your clients can stay connected to you while they're on the run. So let's deep dive into the product. Give me a moment here. Oops, I have to go ahead and figure out how to get this out of the way. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my demo account of Client Hub, and we're going to start talking about the platform. So this is exciting. I am right now looking at the accountant version. Oh, let me get over here. The accountant version of Client Hub. So a couple things I'll point out. As I mentioned, we're client collaboration. So client collaboration is this client workspace that we're on here. 3 panels: client tasks, conversations, and links. These are going to solve for those challenges I talked to. Client tasks, that solves for getting those answers or information or collecting documents from clients. Conversations is going to solve for those siloed communications that we talked about, things that are in all those different inboxes or channels. Clients can come into Client Hub, they can communicate, and everybody on your team has visibility into that. And then the links panel that we'll talk a little bit more, that keeps the client engaged, but it also gives them easy access to their tech stack and those on-demand resources they need, such as forms or training materials or how-to guides. We also in Client Hub have the file manager. The file manager is where you can securely share and store files with your client. You have the ability to go ahead and have that full file folder structure where clients can access those folders. And then we go into these other two tabs in just a few minutes. I'll jump into those. Those will be your internal workflow. But let's deep dive into the client workspace, because the client task feature is the one that I think is the most significant one in Client Hub. This solves for the biggest challenge, the biggest roadblock in anybody's workflow, getting answers from clients. So a client task, as you can see, is something that we request from the client. We create a new client task. We type the message in here, so I can say, please upload a checking statement. Of course, I would be a little bit more clear about what I was asking for. And then down here, I come and I put in the type of request the type of request, not the response I'm requesting from the client. So I couldn't get the words out there right. And this is really critical because everything is not just a to-do item. I don't want a client to just check it off. I need to make it easy for them to respond. Over on the right-hand side, you're going to see a preview of this client task here. So if I sent this out with a little checkbox to say mark is done, my client saw that on their workspace, they would probably be scratching their head saying, upload it where? When? Like, what do you need from me? So what we want to do in this case is we've asked the client to upload a statement. We're going to go ahead and say the response we're requesting is a file. Now, in our file folder, in our file manager, we can also indicate, hey, once that client uploads that file for me, what folder do I want it to land in? This will save me a lot of time because now I don't have to, of course, I probably don't have one for bank statements here, so I'll put it in anything. This way, I don't have to go through the work of getting that document from the client and putting it into that folder. Now, the other items you'll notice here is I have an auto remind feature. So I can go ahead and indicate how many days I want to wait. And after that waiting period, Client Hub will automatically send the client a regular, gentle reminder, letting them know they have open items. We also have a template feature. You can create client task templates. You can add more than one client task at a time. But the magic happens when we click Send and Notify. Send and Notify now adds this item to the client's workspace and will notify the client in multiple different ways. So we send notifications by the mobile app. If your client has that mobile app installed, they'll get a push notification letting them know you created a client task. All they have to do is click on that. It brings them right into their Client Hub mobile app and allows them to respond to that item. Now, the other way they'll get notified will be through email. So our emails act just a little bit differently. We delay them about 15 minutes so we can summarize information for multiple client tasks. If I create 5 client tasks at once, I sure don't want my client to get 5 separate emails. The idea of Client Hub is kind of reduce some of the clutter in the inbox. So what we're able to do is go ahead and notify the client of that item. And that email includes a link that brings the client back into Client Hub to respond to that item. So we always bring the client back into the workspace. The good thing about that is they not only see that one unanswered item that we just created, but all the other items. Now we have other ways to create client tasks that I'll go through. One is a batch feature. So I can go ahead and select multiple clients and create one client task to send to all 3 clients. Then everybody in those workspaces will get notified. The other way I'll show you in just a bit is a way to automate the creation of client tasks. Now the conversations feature here, oops, I'm sorry, I forgot what I want to go back. I'm going to back up a little bit here. I'm going to go into this workspace right here, which is Polly's Pet Spot. I'm going to show you our QuickBooks Online integration. So our QuickBooks Online integration, also we have this similar integration with Xero, is designed to solve for those uncategorized expense transactions in QuickBooks. and 0. So what we do is we make a simple connection between the two platforms. You'll choose an account or multiple accounts you want us to monitor for new transactions. So when you add them to the bank feeds, if you don't know what they're for, you can go ahead and indicate that mapped account. So most firms are using either uncategorized expense or my Ask Client account. And then what that does is when you post that transaction in QuickBooks to that account, it automatically triggers one of these special client tasks in Client Hub. We extract the data from the GL system. So you can see I've got my vendor. I'm also going to bring in the bank detail line if that comes in from the bank feeds. The data, the transaction, the amount, and then we present the client with a couple different ways to answer. Number one, they can choose an account from their QuickBooks Online chart of accounts. So if they know what that account is, and they can submit that response. They can also come down into the lower right-hand corner of the panel and they can add a comment. So if the client wants to provide you with more information about this transaction, they can do that. Now, once they submit their answer, you'll notice I have one just above here. The status of the item changes to answered, which always gives you an opportunity to review the client response. Once you've reviewed the response, if you're satisfied with their response, you can go ahead and close this item. That will push that recategorization back over to QuickBooks Online. Now, you don't have to worry about clients accidentally providing you with the wrong information. If for some reason the client had selected the wrong account, I can easily reopen this item. Again, I can have a conversation with my client over on the right-hand panel, and then I can choose the appropriate account. And then again, close that item, which will push the correct classification over to QuickBooks Online. So jumping back here to my client task, and I'm going to go into this account. My apologies. I'm going to just create another client task here. Let's say I've got a client task. So I'm looking at my client here, Polly's Pet Spa. I just created a new task. Oops, I guess I didn't have any data in that one. I'll go ahead and just do this one here. Awesome. So I created that item. As I mentioned, my client did get notified. The client also gets an in-product notification. And I've got the client view over on my other screen here. So I'm just going to pop that quickly to show you how easy that is for the client to use. So this is the client view. They got those notifications. They also get a notification in this little bell icon. So I can see Judie just created a new client task. If I click on that, it opens up that client task. I can review it. I can comment as the client. And then again, I can mark the item as done and submit my answer. Just like those QuickBooks items, when the client submits the answer, the status changed to answered, and it's there for your review. This is really important because, and I'm going to move the client view out of the way here. If I had requested something like a file, maybe I requested a bank statement and the client uploaded the wrong statement, I can always reopen the item. So I can always review it. I can reopen it if it's the wrong item or the wrong response. Once I am satisfied, I can go ahead and close this item out. So I have full control over what gets closed out and what doesn't. So next, I will show you, as I mentioned, in a little bit, how we can automate the creations of client tasks associated with our workflow. Next, I'll move over to the conversations panel. Pretty simple. This one doesn't take a lot of explanation, but it's a simple modern messaging. So for instance, if your client needs something from you, maybe they're going to ask you to please send a AP report. They can go ahead and send that message. You'll notice again that this all of a sudden appears on that conversation panel. As the accounting professional, I get notifications again, both via email, just like we had talked about in those client tasks. And then I can simply come back here and maybe respond to my client. So I can hit the reply option and just say, hey, when do you need it? Again, client gets notified. You'll notice that reply feature copies the original message down with my response. And then the client can go ahead and they can reply as well. Now, the great thing about this is, and I know I had a typo there, if I am out of the office, somebody else on my team can see these notifications. And we've had that issue happen with email before when I've been out on a 7-day Caribbean cruise and a client messed up payroll and sent me an email. And by the time I got that message and could respond, I couldn't fix the payroll issue. So this is that collaborative communications we've talked about. Everybody on my team that has access to this client can see all these communications. And that way, if the client needs something and I'm not available, my team can go ahead and help. Now I mentioned we do have a mobile app. So Client Hub mobile app does support the client task and conversation feature. Next on the client workspace is the links and resources. I'll go over those just quickly. But links are shortcuts, simply shortcuts, right? So we want to keep our clients engaged with their technology because often we're asking them to go to HubDoc and upload something, or go to QuickBooks and look at this transaction, or even maybe book a meeting with me. So this is fully customizable for each client. As I mentioned, it's just simple. They just go ahead and click on whatever that item is. This happens to be a link to, a spreadsheet. But I could also go ahead and put my link to HubDoc or even my calendar there for my client to schedule meetings with me. And resources, very similar ways for you to go ahead and share those commonly needed training materials or forms that your clients might need, or even instructional videos. We do include in our resource library some Client Hub training materials to help your clients quickly get up to speed and learn how to use the product. Although I have to tell you, it's really not hard. Your clients are going to love it. And then the final piece of the client portal or the client collaboration will be the file manager. And this serves multiple purposes. Number one, it's going to gather any documents that have been sent through either the client tasks or the conversations. And it's going to be the repository for you and your clients to upload documents directly to these folders. We do also send the notifications of that activity. So I like to clarify, anytime something happens in Client Hub that you need to know about, which means a client has responded to a client task, they've sent you a message, they've uploaded a file, all of those communications, every piece of activity, we are going to communicate with you. We're going to send you email notifications, and we're going to give you those notifications up here in this little bell icon. The same with the client. Anytime you create or comment on a client task, send them a message, upload a file, we notify your clients to let them know that. And we also include those automated reminders. So in our file manager for the firm, we have two main folders, the client shared folder and the internal folders. Clients do not see your internal folders. My client shared folders, I can have folders, I can have subfolders within my folders. So I can have as many levels of subfolders as I want. When I go ahead and I click on a document, I get an instant preview. By the way, my team loved this because we could have clients upload bank statements and we didn't even need to worry about having to print those out or download them and then save them somewhere and then preview them. They could go ahead and just put the document, on one, on one monitor, and then go ahead and do the bank reconciliation. And you'll notice I do have some action items right over on the left-hand side. Now we client-proof Client Hub quite a bit. I like to say we client-proof it, which means if I upload a file here or I put it into a folder, my client does not have the ability to rename things or move them or delete them. Client can delete something that they have uploaded on their own within a set period of time, but they cannot move items around within the file manager. And we have, batch actions. So the ability to go ahead and select multiples, we can download them, we can move them, or we can make copies of them or delete multiples. So finally, I want to point out at the very top of the screen here, I have the client that I'm currently working in, which is Polly's Pet Spa. And I've got some tags up here. So our tag feature allows us to go ahead and do some filter options. So I can filter my client list on the left-hand side based on those tags. Just a moment, I'm going to get over to that jobs dashboard, talk about internal workflow, and I'll show you how we can use these tags as well in our jobs to create custom views of our jobs dashboard. But Gary, I wanted to go ahead and break for a moment, see if you have another poll question, and if we have any questions from the group.
All right, the poll is up. We'll leave it up there for a few more seconds here, and then half the group saying yes, they have a client portal solution. Other half is saying no, but considering.
Awesome. Well, I hope they'll be considering Judie and Client Hub. Awesome. So I don't see any questions in the panel, but as I mentioned, please don't hesitate to post any questions there. Hopefully I answered those through the rest of the presentation. Gary, a time check. How much more time do we have left?
Up to about 30 minutes. I mean, about 24 minutes will be at 50.
Okay, awesome. Excellent, because you know me, I can talk forever, especially when it comes to Client Hub. Okay, and I did a pretty good job getting through this first half of the demo. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper now into internal workflow. So at the start of the presentation, I talked about the other big challenge that we have is keeping track of the work that we do on behalf of our clients. If we have a team, keeping track of what our team is doing. And again, working with thousands of other accountants, there are even some big firms in this country that are using calendars and spreadsheets for managing this type of work. It requires a lot of manual updating, or they're using general tools like Asana or Trello. That's great as long as you've got a solution, but I want to show you how we've really designed Client Hub to make it easy for the accounting profession. So I'm going to start on the left-hand side. I'm going to show you my jobs dashboard because this is what my team and I would normally work from on the day-to-day basis. So this jobs dashboard shows us all of the work across all of our clients. And I talked about the filters. So I can go ahead, my job dashboard by default will show me all of the work assigned just to me. But as an admin, I have the ability to look at the work across everybody on my team, or I can look at the work for specific members. So an example, if I know Jenny is out today, I might want to go ahead and see if she's got any work backlogged. It looks like Jenny doesn't. She's pretty up to date. So let's go back and we'll look at the work across everybody on the team. The work can be viewed in two different views of the dashboard. This is the card view, my absolute favorite, but I know a lot of people prefer that look like a spreadsheet. So we also do have a list view of the dashboard. Same information, just displayed differently. The benefit here to the list view is the ability to go ahead and sort by any of these columns. But I'm going to go back to the card view just because it's easier for me to look at. Some of the benefits here, we have the planned column. We have, these are the status columns planned. My work in progress, so what I'm currently working on now. If I have any work on hold, this could be because I'm waiting on clients. And I can see all the work I've completed within the last 7 days. If I go ahead and I click into any one of these jobs, now I can see all of the details. So this one is for Polly. It's her personal work. It's a month-end review, who it's assigned to. I can see this is a repeating or recurring job, which I can also see that on the job card that's displayed with these little round arrows. And if I want to see how often this job repeats, I can go ahead and click on the repeat rules. I've got the start date and the due date of the job. We can see the status. And also this, remember we talked about tags at the client level. We can also add tags to our work. I'm going to go over that in just a moment. Now below that, now I have a list of items with these little check boxes. These are the tasks associated with this job. So for instance, I need to review the reconciliation status. When I click on that task, now I've got full instructions about how to do that one task. And these can be generic, they can be client specific, they're fully editable. And then again, as I click into each task, I'm going to see little different details. Now, this job was created by one of the Client Hub job templates that we already have predefined within Client Hub. So if you don't currently have processes documented and you're looking for a way to get started, the best thing to do is go ahead and use our templates. They're fully editable. You can copy our template and then, edit it to fit your needs. But as we're going through our work, we'll go ahead and check off those items that we're working on or completed so that we can see the status or the progress of that work. So we can see the progress here in the job. I can see the progress indicator over on the job card. If I have a comment about this job, maybe I'm going to say I left off at the income accounts, gone to lunch, because that's my favorite thing to do. I can go ahead and just add a comment for myself. The other thing that I can do is I want to bring something to the attention of somebody else on my team as I can tag them. So maybe I'm stuck in this P&L review. I want to let Billy know, and I want him to please look at the miscellaneous income account for this client. So now when I go ahead and I tag Billy in that notice, Billy gets notified, yes, via email. Again, he gets a little notification in his bell icon up here. Those are all clickable. So when he clicks on that notification, it brings him right into this job. Billy can go ahead and take those actions and maybe he can respond to me right here within the comments. So we also talked about now that job, of course, has moved over. It was my run then review. So it's the one right here saying 3 of 7 tasks are complete. You can see, oops, maybe was that one? That was not the right one. This one right here. We can see that information. Now I can go ahead and also create custom views of my dashboard. So a custom view is the ability to filter by tag. I can either filter by client tag. So if I want to go ahead and just look at the work for all my bookkeeping clients, I can choose that. Or I can add those tags to my jobs and go ahead and filter and say, hey, I just want to look at, let's say my sales tax work. Today's a hard deadline. I want to make sure all the sales tax work is completed. Now I can pull up only the jobs that have that sales tax tag on them. So this is something I missed. We didn't have this feature when I had my firm, and this would have been really helpful to be able to just custom view those, especially again, for those things with a hard deadline. So the other thing about jobs, and let me go ahead and jump in here to another one, is we do have a feature. I talked about the client tasks in the client workspace, right? How do we get answers from clients? So what if we can automate the creation of those client tasks as they're associated with our work? So for instance, on this job, I have a monthly Massachusetts sales tax reporting. The job starts on the 15th. And let's say I want to go ahead and this one has it, it will be published later on today. But let's say I want to automatically say to my client, hey, did you make any purchases this month? Let's say that were the use tax purchases. I can go ahead and add a client task, which is this item that says not published. We add a client task to our job. We add it in draft form, and then we add it to the job. And any of those client tasks that are at the top or the beginning of our job, we can turn on this autopilot feature and then have Client Hub automatically create this client task based on the parameters that we set. So for instance, if I said create this 1 day before the start of the job, now we can see that this client task will be published on the September 14th. When the client task gets published, we automatically update the status. So this is a status pill. It will show as open, and once the client responds, it will show as answered. We'll also update the progress indicators on the job cards. Let me see if I have one here with some client tasks responded to. I do not, my apologies. Oops, I can go ahead. Nope, I don't. So let's dive in, let's dive in and take a look at the internal workspace. The internal workspace is where we see all of the work that are client specific. So we looked at the jobs dashboard, which is the work across all of our clients. But what if I want to just look at the work for a specific client or create a job for a client? So you can see again, I'm in Polly's Pet Spa here. I can see all the open jobs for this client, regardless of who they're assigned to. If I need to create a new job, I have a couple different options. I can create one from scratch if you want to go ahead and do that. I can create one from a template. As I mentioned, it can either be a template I've created or a template that's already in Client Hub. So let's say we're going to do this month-end review. I'll go ahead and create that job from the Client Hub template. And again, it has all that great rich detail in it with the ability for you to add additional tasks, add some client tasks, as well as edit any of the information in here. Now, a couple other ways I can create a job, and one of the fun ways is using our magic workflow, which is our AI enabled feature. So I'm going to go ahead and create a job to, let's see, create a report of unpaid bills. And let's see, we'll try this one. So see if it can tell me how to create a report of unpaid bills in QuickBooks. So what we do is we use ChatGPT. Oh, that only came up with one task. It will normally come up, but this is pretty good. Open QuickBooks, go to the reports menu, select all reports, choose vendors and payables, click on paid bills. That did a really great job. Normally when I go ahead and create a job using AI, it will give me multiple tasks, but this was one task with a really great description. So if you, again, just need a starting point, AI works really well. You know, we can use that to prepare a Form 1040. Again, that will give us quite a few more tasks. We're really having fun and you know, devoting a lot of time to using AI to develop new features here in Client Hub. So this was one of the first AI features that we added. And it just takes a minute. Sometimes it takes a little bit more depending on how busy it is. But you can see this is a beautiful job to prepare a 1040. I'm not a tax preparer myself, but if I, you know, this is great that it was able to pull up all this information and to the level of detail that we need over on the right-hand panel. And again, you have the ability to duplicate this. You can save it as a template. You can delete it if it's something that you don't need. Couple other ways to create a job, which I like to point out. One of my favorites is going back to the client workspace, because a lot of our work, we have our repeating, recurring work, but oftentimes clients will come to us and say, hey, I need something special, right? And so for instance, Polly here did ask us for an accounts payable report right here today at 11:21. I don't want to forget to do that. And if I was using email as my communication tool, I would probably just leave that email left as unopened. And unfortunately, it would probably get lost in the sea of everything else in my inbox. So right here, because my client came in through Client Hub to send that request to me, I can very easily, again, just mouse this over this message, click the box that says create a job, and it automatically creates a job for that client, Polly's Pet Spa. It brings that message in from the client. Now, if this is something I need to go ahead and assign to somebody else on my team, I can choose Billy here. Maybe I want to make sure that he reviews the, you know, the AP report, make sure all, you know, all payments are applied to bills. I want him to upload the report to the file manager. And then finally, I want him to let the client know the AP report is in the file manager. So I'm going to create, again, that client task draft. And I'm going to go ahead and add that to the job. So that was really, really simple. When Billy goes ahead and logs into the jobs dashboard, he's going to see this job. Let's go ahead, we'll load that up here. My apologies, because we know that Slack just goes ahead and slows things down here. I'm sorry, not Slack, Zoom. Zoom slows things down when we're trying to load up a page. Here we go. So I'm going to log in. I'm going to look at Billy's dashboard. We have this job that was created from that client message. Billy got notification. He can see that client message. He sees all the tasks I've assigned to him. Once he goes ahead and he completes that job, he simply just comes to the bottom and clicks publish this client task. That one doesn't run on autopilot. So now he's completed this job. Couple other tidbits I didn't go over are the ability to use Client Hub for time tracking. So if you do track for time, whether it be for billing and or payroll, as your team starts the work, they can go ahead and start the timers for their jobs. They can continue to keep that timer running even if they close out of the job or even go into another workspace. You'll notice it docks up at the very top. They can pause or stop the timer, or they can go back to the job panel that they're working on. So they can see exactly what job that they're working on and continue on with the work. Those job reports are available in the dashboards. We do have a time tracking dashboard where you can see all of the time. It can be, I don't know if I have any good time in here, but we'll go ahead and double check. Let's see mine for last month. With the options to go ahead and sort by or total by employee, or I can go ahead and total by client, and the ability to export those time reports here. Now, one other thing I have here that if you're a Client Hub user or you have, you're getting ready to start a trial, is some of our new features. So we have an email integration currently in beta. So that will be released to new users, I believe sometime the end of this week. Our existing users will see those features available for a 2-month trial, probably sometime in October. But this is the ability to connect your inbox, either your Outlook or your Google. It will bring all of your emails into Client Hub and give you some AI features, which include changing the tone. We'll also have the ability to use AI to draft your responses. And then further features that we'll have with this will include summarizing email threads, which I love because email threads are just a killer for me. It's going to summarize email threads. We're going to be able to associate emails with a client workspace and create a job from an email. So if a client, for some reason, maybe your client's banker sends you a request for financial statements, you'll be able to go ahead and create a job. So as you can see, Client Hub is the real deal when it comes to practice management. It's the client collaboration, helping you to get those answers from clients to unblock your workflow. Also, secure way for you and your clients to transmit files and for your clients to communicate with not just you, but a full team. And you can keep track of the work that you and your team are doing. Now, I did want to go ahead. I have a bring back my slide deck here. Hang tight. Oops, here we go. So let's go ahead and, oops, sorry about that. Talk a little bit more about Client Hub. It is an all-in-one client collaboration, secure file sharing, an internal workflow, jobs management solution. I'd like to say some of the benefits are that there's no complicated setup. Unlike a lot of other products on the market that do what Client Hub does, Client Hub is really easy to get started with. It doesn't require, again, there's no complicated setup. However, it does a pretty powerful job. It's easy to use both for your team and your clients. I know a lot of firms come to me and they say, it's great, but my clients don't have time to learn a new solution. Your clients will love Client Hub. I can almost guarantee it. I had a client that was in his mid 70s. He had never used a smartphone or a computer before. And we had to get him on board with Client Hub because he lost his office receptionist during COVID. And he loved it. He thought it was the easiest thing he had ever used. It was easier than email. So if he can do it, anybody can do it. Another benefit here is that Client Hub and our product team, we give equal focus to both the firm and the client experience. And so with a lot of other products, especially workflow products with a client portal, the client portal is an afterthought. The product is for the firm with an afterthought on the client portal, and Client Hub does not do that. We give as much tension on the client experience as we do the firm experience. We have those QuickBooks Online and Zero integration. It helps to solve for those uncategorized expense transactions. If you're doing a month-end spreadsheet, you know how hard it is to get information back from your clients. The reason being those month-end spreadsheets sometimes have transactions that are 3 or 4 weeks old. It's easier if you go ahead and set up that integration and you're working in the client's account on a weekly basis. You can go ahead and trigger them in more real time, or you can use even the bank rules to do that. And we as a software company, we're continuously innovating. We're keeping up to date with technology trends. We're heavily invested in AI for developing features to help you be even more productive. I mean, Client Hub's going to increase productivity by probably almost 80%. And imagine if we could even make that better. So we'll continue to innovate. We're not just a static product that's just going to stay as it is. And we're dedicated to our community. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. As a member of the accounting community for the last almost 25 years, we want to make sure that we're helping the community. So we have a user dedicated Facebook group. We have our bi-weekly happy hour events, which we have a lot of fun at. We give out prizes, we have trivia, but we do talk about important topics in the accounting profession, and we brainstorm with those about that, and we we network with the other members of the community, and we are built by accountants for accountants. So everybody on our team has some type of background in the accounting profession, which is really, really helpful because we definitely understand the needs. And finally, I'll go over pricing. This was a little hard for me to put together, I have to tell you. I'm going to talk about our standard pricing. It is everything I showed you without that email integration right now. So it's that firm workflow, which shows the jobs dashboard, creating jobs using the magic jobs, the client communication and the whole client portal, client task, the file manager, the mobile app, and we only charge for firm users. So I found out recently that one of our competitors charges for client users as well, and I was really surprised about that. We only charge you per firm user, and this is the information on the left-hand side. It's $59 per firm user on a month-to-month subscription. If you do a demo with a member of our team, we'll give you a 14-day free trial. We can go ahead and you can reach out to me, excuse me, or you can go to our website. You can also subscribe on an annual basis. It's $49 per month, so we bill it annually at $588 per firm user. And of course, if you add or subtract users, we prorate that. On the right-hand side, and I'll talk about this, our premium is coming at the end of this week, our whole new premium features. It will include all the features in standard, including access to all of our new AI features. When you start at the end of this week, when you start, if you start a trial after the end of this week, you'll automatically have those features when they're released. And that is an additional, that's going to be $79 per month per firm user on a month-to-month subscription, $69 per firm user on an annual subscription. I think it's $828 per year per user. And I want to point out a couple other things to you. We provide you with a demo, a product demo, a high-level overview. You get to attend both a setup meeting as well as we do 2 times per week. We do new user training webinars for how to use the product. And we do have options for concierge onboarding. Depending on the level that you need, you can contact our sales team for more information. So Gary, that was it. How'd it do?
Drop the mic. That was 50 minutes exactly. So we do need, let me throw out one more poll question, and that is actually pretty straightforward. And it is, do you believe a solution, hold on, let me launch it. So basically, do you believe a solution like Client Hub would be valuable for your practice? And Judie, while people answer this question, go ahead and throw out you can just throw it in the chat, your contact information. And I do want to say, kind of pointing back on the pricing that Judie just showed, this is being recorded on September the 12th, 2013. All prices subject to change. Put a little asterisk in there. But I'm not saying that they have plans to change pricing beyond that. But, somebody watches this, a year and a half from now. Oh, you said it was this rate. Well, we're going to put the asterisk out there. And that was me saying that, not Judie. But just be aware this was filmed on recorded on September 12th, 2023. So go ahead and end the poll there. 100% said yes, solution like this would be valuable. Also, Judie, could you share? I had two questions I was going to ask, and it was about onboarding and pricing, and you just covered those. So you stole my only two questions I had. Here it is again. It's September. Where are you exhibiting, or anywhere coming up that you'll be on the road where people can find you?
Yeah, so next week we'll be at the CPB, Canadian Professional Bookkeeper Association Ignite Conference in Toronto. So if you're one of our Canadian friends, we hope you'll stop by and see us at that conference. And in November, our team will be over at QuickBooks Connect in Las Vegas. And then, of course, next year we'll be at Scaling New Heights.
Okay. And that's your three kind of primary events that you do?
Right now, those are three that we have on the board, subject to change. Our users, we notify our users, of course, and we use our social media to let people know when we're going to be at other events or all events.
Okay, fantastic. All right, and again, so Judie put her email and the link to the site out in that chat. So if anybody, if you want to go ahead and copy those down before we close out. I'm stalling a little bit just to make sure we do get that full 50 minutes, 50 minutes.
Sure. Do you want me to sing and dance, Gary?
You can if you would like, multi-talented Judie McCarthy. Here we go. So I think we are covered here. Thank you so much, Judie. Again, as I said in the beginning, Judie's kind of a guinea pig just to see what kind of reception this type of informational webinar would generate just within the audience and then our market. So this will be posted on our YouTube channel, probably take about 2 days to get it up. And then you will receive a link to this. If people who are here for the live, you'll receive a link to the YouTube channel as well, just via email. So thank you, Judie. Thanks everybody else who joined us.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely. Very informative. And I suppose I'm not going to Canada, so I guess I'll see you in Las Vegas.
Very good.
All right. Thanks.
Take care. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.